So, did I tell you what show I started watching?
No, what?
The Sopranos.
Ooh!
Yep.
Like, all the way from the beginning?
Yes, I've never seen any of it, so
what?
Yes.
You've never seen The Sopranos?
No, this is the first time. That's why I'm like, this is a big moment
Wait,
in my life.
Were you inspired by the new movie coming out?
Yes, I was. Wait, and did you know that the guy who's playing the young Tony Soprano?
Yes.
That's his son in real life.
Yes.
Oh my god, I almost cried when I found that out, because I kept being like, wow, he really looks like him. Like, he really looks like him. And everyone's like, well. I mean, I guess. And I was like, no, he really looks like him. It's crazy. And it's his son. Oh my god.
I believe the movie is about him in, like, high school.
It's called The Many Saints of Newark.
Okay.
Newark.
Newark.
Sorry, that was the Delaware in me. Sorry.
And who's the cousin?
Christopher? Yeah, it's Christopher's dad, Uncle Dickie.
Christopher's dad. Okay, and so he's in high school and whatever. But what I want, because I've heard that this may not be the only movie. Like, there might be others.
That would be cool.
But I want the movie where Tony rises to the boss. Because when you start The Sopranos, he's the boss. But nobody really shows how he, like, gets to be the boss.
He's not the boss in the beginning.
He's, like, pretty up there. Like, he's on the track.
So you want, like, in his 20s
yes.
and 30s.
Yes.
And all that. Maybe they'll make that.
That's kind of what I hope. So I'm excited to see this, but I would really want the next one. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Who's your favorite character?
Paulie Walnuts. He's the best.
He is. Paulie's pretty good.
I love him. I don't know why I love him, but I love him so much.
He's long lasting too, you know? He's
good.
Pretty iconic.
Thank God, because I don't know what I'd do without him. And I like Tony, I like Carmela. I feel bad for Carmela. I hope better things happen to her. But I won't hold my breath.
No. I think some interesting developments happened to her. And
okay.
I think you'll, like, kind of appreciate it a little.
Like, I really like it, but it is a little hard to watch all the female characters just getting on all the time. Like, nonstop. I'm like, is anyone gonna get a win? Anybody? Like, at least give Carmela one, because, like, this is so sad.
Okay, I'll be honest, it gets better for her, but it's still not great. And, like, 20% of all of the seasons are at a strip club. I mean,
yeah.
Bada bing.
Bada bing. And even, like, some of it, I'm like, we don't need this shot of, like, boobs in my face for, like, a minute. But, like, you put it in there. So, but isn't it funny that Sopranos came out around the same time as Sex and the City? And it was like Sex and the City was tailored towards women. And this show was kind of like, I'm sorry, it's a little tailored towards men, even though it's entertaining.
Oh, it is.
Isn't that interesting? I was like, wow, they had like 2 monumental series out at the same time. It's really crazy to think about.
That is really crazy. And both HBO.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Also, his dad, like, every year, because you know how, like, nobody knows how to give dad presents? And so for a period in time, it was every Sopranos shirt. And I remember him wearing Bada Bing shirts. And, like, now putting it together, it's like, ew, Dad, you were wearing a strip club shirt? Ew.
That's gross. Oh, no.
He definitely had a Bada Bing shirt, and that is our life.
Well, I was talking to him about it. I was like, I started watching it. I was like, and they got the movie coming out. And he's like, movie? I haven't seen that. And I showed him the trailer. And this is what he had to say about it. Because in the trailer, they call him Antonio.
Yeah.
And he goes, I thought his name was Anthony. I was like, I think there's other things you should focus on in this trailer. And then at the end, when Ray Liotta...
Oh, yeah.
He goes, hey, you met him, remember? And I was like, that was Bridget, Dad! Jeez! He's like, oh, okay, never mind. I was like, okay, well...
He has the most beautiful blue eyes you've ever seen in your life.
He still does. I was like, Ray Liotta, wow, thank God you're here.
It was so funny to me that he's this big, like, burly gangster character, and I was this measly front desk girl, and I was staring at him because he's a celebrity that I was like, wow, look at those baby blue eyes. And he literally thought I was going to kick him out of a beach club. And he held up his wrist, like, look, I got the band. I was like, oh my God, Ray Liotta, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I was just staring at your beautiful baby blue eyes. Like, I'm so weird. I was probably like 14 too or something.
Wait, was he with the other celebrity?
Yes,
or
he was with the boss.
Was he also with Silvio, who's Bada Bing? Because Silvio is Bruce Springsteen's guitarist.
Yes. Oh my God, the amount of bottom lips, am I right? Okay, well, I'm glad we reviewed that show. Should we get into this movie?
Yes.
Sisters, sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters, sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, 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 sisters. Sisters who've seen it.
Hi there!
Hello!
Welcome back!
Welcome back, listeners. How y'all doing today?
Good, good, good.
Bada bing! Great!
Did anyone ever have their birthday forgotten and they're here to commiserate? We're here for you.
Yeah, that happens, all right. I'm excited to get into this movie because I think last time I kind of preferenced that I'm not a crazy fan of this movie, and I'm interested to talk with you about this today because it's an interesting movie.
There's a lot.
But before we get into that, listeners, let me introduce ourselves. So, we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where two sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And
I was filling out a sex test quiz, and I don't know who found the answers.
Okay. And that scene, I was like, is this for class? Or, like, why is this happening? I hate it all.
Cosmo watched this movie and was like, I know what magazine we have to make. It's gonna be inspired by Molly Ringwald's sex quiz, and that's our whole magazine.
Oh, no. What's our movie, Bridge?
16 Candles.
16 Candles. So, yeah, what is the year? I realized I did not write it down.
1984.
Yeah, it's so 80s.
Katie, I wasn't even born yet, so you know this old.
Yeah, holy moly. So I watched this was not streaming anywhere, which made me sad all day, but what are you gonna do? So I got it off of Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. Did you watch it on Amazon Prime?
Yes, I have invested a lot of money into this reviews.
Into Jeff Bezos? God damn it.
It's literally on Amazon Prime. How?
I know. Well, when I watched this, though, so it's, you know how it starts with, like, the production company logo?
Oh, yeah.
So it was, like, Universal, and I was like, uh-huh. And then it, like, cut, and then it was a second Universal logo that was, like, older? And I was like, so, what the Like, why did they do that? Like, it was weird.
So I thought the same thing. I was like, this is strange, but I chalked it up to, like, this movie's old, and there's probably just dumb old stuff.
Well, that's why I bring that up, because I was like, is it just, like, because it came out, like, long ago? You guys were like, wait, look at our new logo, everyone. They're like, don't forget.
We're gonna do a test. We're gonna put the new logo first, and then the old one later. We'll see who complains. And everyone's like, why are there two logos? They're like, damn it.
Oh my god. All right, well, Bridge, I really want you to do the synopsis.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay, this is a John Hughes film, so it is set in the outskirts of Chicago, and I believe it's set in Skokie, Illinois, that is 10 minutes away from where I live right now.
Wow, ride your bike there.
Right?
Wow.
And so basically it's suburbs, and there is a family that we basically meet, and this family is in a rush because their oldest daughter is getting married the next day, and this morning happens to be their other daughter.
Bada bing.
Oh my god, we start talking about Sopranos, and I'm like, hey, oh, Italian.
Hey.
Their other daughter, Samantha, who is played by Molly Ringwald, the star of this show, is turning 16. It is her birthday. And you know what happens, Kate? Something that just, without Facebook reminding us, always happens to people.
I was gonna say,
entire family forgets her birthday. And everything you can imagine as a 16-year-old, that's the worst thing ever happens. And we basically go through her entire day at school. Then there's a school dance and, you know, shenanigans afterwards. And all of these, like, little storylines are happening throughout the day that really actually, like, brought me back to being 16. Like, things that made you so angry or so dramatic at 16, I thought it still holds up. So, first she looks looks at herself in the mirror and she's mad she doesn't look older, which basically is a lot around her, like, boobs, which there's a lot about boobs in this film.
Yeah, there are boobs.
There's
big.
a lot of boobs. And then we get to, as we alluded a little earlier, she starts off by kind of saying, I'm so mad my whole family forgot my birthday, but you know what? I'm going to fill out this sex test in class, and I'm going to write down this huge crush I have, Jake Ryan, who is played by, oh God, what is his name? It's like,
I don't know because I've never seen him in anything else my entire life.
Oh my God, Katie, he's in Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. I am...
Wild Hearts Can't Be... Is that the movie where the girl goes blind?
Yes, on the horse.
On the horseback ride?
Oh my God. His name is Michael Schofling.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest, when he showed up, I was like, oh my God, he is so hot. Like, he is so... Oof. And I think it's from Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. Anyways.
I hope so, because he's annoying in this movie.
Back to the focus. So then she fills out this test, and she goes to throw it to her best friend behind her, and Jake picks it up, because I think he kind of thought, like, what is this note about? And in the note, she says she has a crush on Jake, and pretty much says she wants to have sex with him.
Yeah, it was like, if you could have sex with someone, who would it be? And then it's like, don't worry about them finding out, because your name's not on it. I'm like, but who wrote this? No, I refuse.
So basically he knew that she had a crush on him, and that kind of made him, like, look at her differently and be like, oh my God, he's a senior, right? Or junior or senior.
Yeah, he's a senior, I think.
And he's got this, like, he's the popular guy, and he's so dreamy, and he's dating, like, the head popular girl, and blah, blah, blah. But all of a sudden he starts to, like, fall in love with her because of this note. And, okay, so that's a whole subplot that she's like, I'm into this guy who doesn't even know I exist. And then, if her day couldn't be worse because she's afraid of what happens to this note, she comes home and all of the family members are there for the wedding. So they take over her room. And Katie, this is something that has bothered you as a kid.
Yeah, I was like, this is hitting me in the feels a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I can sympathize.
So her grandparents take over the room, and then they have this, like, awful character, Long Duk Dong, who is a foreign exchange student that lives with one of the grandparents that also comes, and that's a whole, like, sad, weird subplot that does not age well.
No.
And then they get ready for the dance, and, you know, again, she's hoping to see Jake Ryan, but instead we meet, who is literally, the character's name is called The Geek.
Okay, I called him the nerd in all of my notes.
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't think you have a name.
Well,
like, I don't think
Ted.
there's an actual name.
His name is Ted, but, like, even in the credits, they literally say The Geek.
Oh, I know, I wrote that.
And I'm like, that is so, like, ridiculous. So that is Anthony Michael Hall, and he is in love with Molly Ringwald, and so he's kind of, like, always trying to, like, date her, and, you know, like, just putting himself all over her, and blah, 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 blah. And so that kind of kicks off how Jake finds out that, you know, she really likes Jake because she tells The Geek, and eventually, at this big party later, Anthony Michael Hall lets Jake know that Samantha really likes her. This is how 16-year-old it sounds. It's like, oh my God, you like me, I like you. And then the next day, he shows up to her sister's wedding that she ditches, and
she does.
They just drive off into the sunset. And, I mean, did I nail the synopsis, or did I miss anything? Because it sounds so stupid now.
Well, it is stupid, so there's only so much summarizing you could do. But I agree with what you said. Some of this just feels like randomness that's, like, kind of connected, but, like, if you cut out all the random stuff, this movie would probably be, like, a half hour long.
Well, I think the thing I like about John Hughes movies is he is, like, a museum for the time. So he does a lot of, like, focus in on, like, style, outfit, saying, like, phrases that are very, like, of the time. And I feel like half of his movies are, like, I just need to whip out this script because I want everyone to see, like, a time capsule of, like, how teenagers are in this era. And that's actually, like, interesting because you're like, wow, look at how different they were, blah, blah, blah. But, like, the rest of the movie is just, like, a 16-year-old girl, mad, her birthday's forgotten about, and has a crush on some guy. And, like, that's it. That's the whole movie.
That's it.
What?
And, like, the first half of the movie, when they're focusing on the whole day of her birthday, where she's like, oh, woe is me. Life is horrible. Nobody remembers. Like, that annoyed me more, all of those parts, than, like, the second half ending. Like, then I felt like I was like, all right, now we're, like, we're doing stuff, we're moving. I feel like this movie would work a little better if it was, like, a little more satirical, because they were playing her off as, like, no, like, this is the worst, and the audience should agree. She was super passive-aggressive with the family. Like, you could just be like, guys, it's my birthday, remember? And instead she's like, oh, God, you don't want to, like, give me anything today? Jeez. I'm like, this is annoying. And then she, like, about it all day, and I'm like, I just, The
entire movie wouldn't exist if in the morning she says to her mom, hey, is there anything you want to say to me? And then her mom's like, I forgot to pack your carrots.
Yeah.
And then she says, oh, it's my birthday. And her mom goes, oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry. And then that's the end of the movie.
That's it. I know. Because you know what it is too? It's like, again, the parents are being portrayed like they're these horrible people, and they're not. They're like super nice and like apologetic to her later on when they realize like what happened. And I just kind of felt like that whole first half, it felt like it was written by a teenager, where it was like, this is the worst thing in my life ever that could ever happen to anyone. I was like, okay, relax.
But like,
there's still like poverty and AIDS, like everybody chill. All right.
Kim, people are dying.
Yeah, it's not about you, Molly Ringwald, playing this girl.
But, okay, I'm gonna stick up for the movie a little bit. It is, I think, supposed to be for teenagers, by teenagers, and it's a very teenage thing. Like, literally, at 16, do you remember the things you thought would end your world?
Yes.
And it was usually about, like, oh my God, my crush doesn't know I like them, or, like, something so dumb, and that's the biggest thing to a 16-year-old.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I do think, like, rewatching it, I kind of, like, softened a little to the movie, because there are some parts in here that I agree I think are, like, good at, like, portraying a kid like that, and, like, whatever, but I just...
So, okay, the other thing that happened to me is, like, you see, what is her other big famous movie?
Breakfast Club?
No, what's the other one where she's like...
Pretty Pink.
Pretty Pink. Okay, so I, like, switched characters in my head, and rewatching it, it's like, it zooms in on the huge house, and then, like, every character, like, the younger brother comes out who's his own terror.
He's the worst.
Like, I'm afraid for who he's gonna turn into.
Yeah.
You know, the younger sister, the mom, and all these, like, people come out, and I have to tell you that nobody looks like Molly Ringwald. So I was like,
no.
Oh, this must be, like, the perfect rich family, and then, like, we'll go to her, like, sad shack, and that's where, like, she lives, because I switched movies. And when she showed up, I was like, oh, she's, like, the wealthy person that complains all day that her birthday was forgotten.
Yeah.
Now this movie, like, stings a little different because, like, it's just, like, a rich girl mad she doesn't get a car for her birthday. It's, like, pretty much MTV Sweet 16.
Yeah. This is, like, Sweet 16, like, in one of those episodes where the girl, like, has a little fit, and you're like, what? You're on a TV show. What's happening? Yo, her little brother.
Yeah, let's spend time on that. I don't care about the chronological stuff in this movie. Her little brother is the devil, and I'm actually going to blame the parents because when the whole day ends and his mom was like, hey, is there anything to say to your sister? And he's like, what? And she's like, well, we forgot her birthday. Do you want to say anything? And then he starts laughing and runs out of the room. And if I was his mother, he would literally be hung out the window. I'd be like, what are you? Like, what's wrong with you?
Wait, the first thing that he says in this movie is like, it's the morning, it's like the birthday morning, whatever, and he is in the bathroom, or he's going to the bathroom, and he runs into the dad, and then the older sister, who's getting married, comes out, goes to the bathroom, and is like, I have a crisis, Dad, I need the bathroom, and the dad's like, geez, what's her problem? And the child boy, who is probably 10, I don't know what's happening, he goes, she got her period, Dad. I was like,
oh,
why do you know that?
And his follow-up quote was, should make for an interesting honeymoon.
Ew, I hate all of that. And then you're right. Instead of the dad, like, giving him, like, you know, the talking to, he's like, where'd you learn that? And he's like, school. And he's like, wow, good for school. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's great we're getting sex education, but, like, this isn't the time to be, like, focusing on that. Like, focus on, like, the inappropriateness that your 10-year-old little boy said about his sister that's so nasty.
Well, and then the entire character arc for the sister is she has her period.
That's it.
Any scene with her is like her just like sad and they're like, she has her period. And then the wedding day, she takes a bunch of muscle relaxants because she has her period. And I'm like, time out. Time out. We all know having your period sucks, but time out. This can't be her only characteristic. That can't be it. That can't be the only characteristic for her.
And she was like super like ditzy too, and I was kind of like, okay, I don't really know what is happening. Like, I just felt like she was always like drugged up, and I was like, did you take muscle relaxers yesterday too? Because what's your excuse for yesterday? Because you were being weird and something's happening. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I hate the brother, and
he's terrible.
Oh, and you know what this movie did too? This movie did a cold open, which I always love. So
Ooh.
It did. We kind of see the whole like, oh, they all forgot my birthday, and then she's like, oh, they forgot my birthday, and then it's like roll credits. It's like 80s, yeah. And then we literally for like, it had to have been like 2 to 3 minutes. We just see random clips of like unidentified people,
Converse sneakers.
Yeah, like doing random stuff.
High-waisted jeans. Thank God. Let's keep those.
Yes. Oh my God.
Like people writing on their legs with markers that like everyone used to do. I used to write like all over my thighs. I don't know how I don't have ink poisoning.
You see the people like opening lockers and like everything's just falling out. And I was like, I mean, that's realistic. You know, we all know about that. So.
And we get on the bus.
Well, the bus is when she goes home though.
Oh, I thought it was when she gets on in the morning.
I don't know how she got to school because yeah, that bus, I'm like, shouldn't you be used to the bus if this is how you get to school? But I don't know. But no, they're at school, and then you see her best friend, who I don't know her name. Like I was missing names left and right.
A little left and right. I'll look it up. Keep talking.
Yeah. So she sees the friend, and she's like telling her like they forgot my birthday, blah blah blah. And then the friend's like, why don't you just tell them it's your birthday, like a normal person? Yeah. And she's like, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. And I was like, this is stupid.
So
all of this is so dumb. And then somehow that leads to them talking about, oh, she's like, oh, it's a Sweet 16. You're supposed to get like a car. And she goes, I want a black, like, Trans Am. That's what she says. And the girl goes, a black guy? And she goes, no, a pink guy. Black Trans Am. And I was like, I hate all of this. I hate. Didn't need it.
Hated the way that scene was so uncomfortable. The character of Long Duk Dong was so uncomfortable.
Oh.
The way that they said, please bleep that.
Like a lot.
It rhymes with maggot, people, and put an F in front of it. And then the R word. Yeah. And you're just like, oh my God. And then I watched or I read like articles later where John Hughes was like, yeah, a lot of people were really mad about Long Duk Dong. And, you know, I thought he was funny. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so like careless, you know? Like that's just so lazy.
That's why he doesn't hold up though, because he's literally like not relevant to the plot. Like,
no.
You just put him in there so we could laugh at, like, this Chinese exchange student.
Yeah. It was terrible.
Cool.
And actually, if I took a step back, he looked to be the only one having fun, which I appreciated for him.
Agreed. Yeah.
So,
he knows how to have a good time. I mean, he fell asleep on the lawn, so.
And by the way, I still can't find the Brenda. Does that sound right? Like hers?
I didn't hear any names. I don't know.
I still can't find her friend.
Her friend had crazy 80s hair. I was like, whoa.
Wait.
This is like blown out, girl.
Wait.
Moly.
And then the guy that she ends up like hooking up with at the prom had matching hair. And I was like, stop it. Is that how you guys bonded?
That's so funny. I know, it's just that 80s hair, man. It could be good on women, good on men, good on everyone. It's a great day.
So I think if we kind of like jump to just the friend character really quick, she was trying to give her some truth bombs, but I felt like she was a little insensitive. Like I felt like she was annoyed to be her friend, and it was a little weird.
Yeah.
But I think she was there to be the thing we were all thinking, like, stop feeling sorry. What did she say? Stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's bad for your complexion.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like, maybe, but I don't think that's why we all get acne. So.
And then she was like, hey, I hate to tell you this, but my brother paid $1 to see your underwear.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the friend was good, but, like, she also, like, I thought she was, like, a little too harsh. Like, she could have been like, hey, here's a birthday cake, or I'll celebrate your birthday, or, like, something a little bit, like, sweeter, but at the same time, she told the truth. So
I feel like in a lot of these, like, teen 80s movies, too, it's like everyone only has, like, one good friend. And so I was like, man, if there were, like, other friends talk with you about this, that would have been cool to see. But we just get, like, one perspective, and it's just, like, the one girl. And then she, like, disappears the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Then she's just gone forever. And you're like, all right, well, that was cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Bye. So I thought in the scene where she's doing the sex quiz, at first I was like, oh, this is for her friend. But then it, like, kept, like, going to the teacher. And I know, like, they were doing that because it, like, somebody wrote something stupid on the board and it was, like, pointing at the teacher and he, like, didn't notice, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I know you're doing that. But then, like, it was kind of making me be like, wait, are you doing that because this is a sex ed class? And is this, like, for this class? Like, I really didn't understand what was going on with the note. And then the friend is, like, sleeping and she doesn't even, like, notice that she's filled out the note. I was like, this is such a weird setup. Like, I don't know how we got here. I don't even know if the movie knows how we got there.
But, so it's funny, I didn't see that at all. I was like, oh my god, you're writing a dirty note. Don't let anyone see it. Like, I felt her insecurity of, like, be really cautious. Because, let's face it, in high school, we all wrote some sort of dirty note about something. And, like, you didn't want anyone looking at that. And, like, that's how I took it. I thought the questions were hilarious that, like, they were like, have you ever done it? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, so that's a no.
You should probably find out the answer.
Yeah, I think that's a no. And then it was like, if you wrote, I don't know, would you? I'm like, wait, are all of them saying they don't know? Because her little brother knows what's happening in sex ed. But, like,
yeah, what? Well, that's why I was like, is this a class? Because, like, there's a lot of, like, detailed questions on here. And I don't know, me and my friends, I didn't give them, like, an 80-question quiz about their, like, potential sex life. Like, that just seems like a lot to ask about in a friendship. I don't know what's happening. But, and then also, during all of this, she is in the same class as Jake, which again confused me, because I'm like, he's in a different grade. I don't know what's happening. What class is this? Like, I was really stuck on the class, and I know that's not the point of the scene, but, like, I couldn't get past it. And then he's just, like, staring at her like a creepazoid. Ugh. He's literally staring at her, and then she, like, does the, like, slow turnaround, and he's like, still staring, and then she's, like, turns back around, and I was like, this is so weird.
She's very good at being the, like, nervous, uncomfortable girl.
Yes.
Like, she plays that. And even, like, I thought her reactions would annoy me after a while, but I think that's what makes her such a good lead. I didn't hate it when you could have got annoyed by it, because she did it a lot. Like, remember when she saw him at the dance and he smiled, and then she ran away from him, and you're like, that's a bad idea to flirt.
I don't know. He was just, like, a lot, and I didn't really understand, like, his deal. And then they kind of explain it, because there's, like, one scene where he's talking to, like, I guess a friend who looked like a 50-year-old man doing pull-up sex.
Oh my god. He looked like the gym teacher.
Yeah, I was like, what class is it? Where are we? What's the school? And he was like, oh yeah, you know this girl? And he was like, oh, not really, whatever. And then they were talking, and the one friend was like, oh, is she, like, hot? And he was like, no, man, she's, like, more than that. And he goes, this is what he says. He goes, Jake, she's a child. And he goes, so?
Ew.
And I threw up in my mouth. Listen, and I understand that wasn't the point they were making. They were trying to be like, no, see, Jake likes her personality. But, like, don't compare people you like to children, because that's disgusting, and I hate that. I felt like there was a lot of lines like that where, like, if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't notice.
So
but if you were, yeah, like, just like a weird way to phrase things.
Well, and he also said, I wrote, okay, the CrossFitters are doing pull-ups in gym. He wrote, yeah, man, she's always looking at me. It's cool.
Except she's not looking at you. You're staring at her, and she looked at you for 0.5 seconds and turned away. So maybe get your story straight, Jake.
Okay, so I also looked up his age for the movie. He was 23 when he played a high schooler.
Yeah.
I hated his character by the end, but oof, he's just really nice to look at. I'm sorry. Like, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. I can't. I mean, he just, you know, and then, okay, wait, I also gotta tell you something about him. He's a Temple alumni.
What? Temple Maine!
Temple Maine! And he stopped acting, I think, like, because I was looking him up, like, late 80s, I think, maybe early 90s, he stopped acting, and he, like, owns a woodworking shop. I'm like, oh you're so hot! Like, stop being so hot. Like, he's hot. Come on.
Alright, well, we'll give him a second chance. We're just gonna chalk it up to John Hughes being a weirdo in the early 80s. Okay. Somewhere in these scenes, we also, like, I don't know how this happened, like, somebody's having a conversation, and again, it's a conversation about boobs, so it's probably Sam and her friend being like, oh, woe is me, I don't have boobs, and I'm like, you have boobs, like, everybody relax, alright, you're wearing a bra, everybody chill, it's fine. And then it literally cuts to actual boobs, and again, I was like, am I watching The Sopranos? Because I didn't sign up for this, and get it out of my face.
I was also getting something about Mary vibes. I was like, and here's a giant boob shot.
Some boobs.
I was gonna tell you, if we're in high school, and you're in these communal showers, and you're butt naked, and two girls are staring at you while you're taking a shower naked, I'm gonna say, why are you watching me shower? It's so inappropriate.
It was so weird. And they were saying something about how, like, and I don't know that girl's name.
Caroline.
I called her blonde girl.
Caroline.
Okay, Caroline. Okay, so they were talking about Caroline, and then they're like, oh, wow, look at her. She's got boobs, and she's a lady, or something weird. And then they started talking about how Caroline had, like, someone in her family die, and, like, something, like, tragic. And they literally said it in, like, 1 second, and then they're like, anyway, look at her boobs. Lucky her. I was like, whoa! We can't just throw in, like, intense family trauma, and then, like, talk about her boobs again. Like, no, that's not...
Honestly, I
don't know why.
If you just told the story of Caroline's arc, it's actually really, really sad, but they portrayed her to be a very annoying person. And the truth is, she was actually the most realistic 16-year-old. She's popular and pretty, but she's never really mean to anybody.
No.
Okay, she just, if anything, Molly Ringwald was crying in the hallway, and she goes, hey, how you doing? She was just like, she was just being nice. Then Jake complains that she only wants to party, but, like, he's clearly not interested in her, and she even says it. She's like, are you, like, not interested in me anymore? And he's like, oh, of course I am. And she's like, oh, okay. And so she then just goes and has fun at the party, and then they basically, as she's unconscious drunk, send her home with another guy that then he basically tells Michael Anthony Hall, whatever you say his name, to, like, go at it and, like, basically take advantage of her from her boyfriend, and then she wakes up in a church parking lot. I'm sorry, but, like, why is she the worst character? It sounds like she should be going to the police and telling them what happened.
Yeah, I agree. I did not understand. Like, there is no point in writing in a sad backstory if, like, you're not gonna focus on it and, like, you're gonna make us try to hate her. Because, like, you don't need it.
They wanted us to hate her, and I'm like, I feel like she's really doing nothing wrong. Like, so she, like, invited a bunch of people over that trashed her house. That's mean. But you didn't really seem to care, Jake. He literally, like, walked around and he's like, well, my house is ruined. I was like, this is not a reaction that was appropriate for the situation.
He's handing out Rolls Royces to random boys he just doesn't really know well. So, like, I think you are also irresponsible, Jake. So maybe look at yourself in the mirror for once. All right? I can't. I don't know. That was just, like, it was so weird, and I don't know. And then you meet the nerds. You get to the bus.
Can we talk about the two unexpected nerds that ended up being way more famous than anybody in this film?
Wait, so I only know John Cusack.
Yeah.
Which first of all, I know they tried so hard to make him nerdy, but I was like, you're not a nerd.
No.
I'm like, get out of my face.
Yeah.
You are super cutesy.
So cute.
And I don't want to hear it. But I didn't know the other guy, the tall guy.
No, Kate. His sister, Joan.
Oh, well, I mean, she was kind of a nerd. She was just like a random girl in the background all the time. And again, I was like, why?
What? She had a neck brace, and the entire movie was watching her try to drink things that she couldn't drink.
When I think of the nerds, I think of how there is a population of like 40 little boys who go to this school and all hang out. And I was like, why are there so many of you?
There's so many.
This is weird. What school
is this? And they pay to see underwear. Like, what?
Oh my god, it was so weird.
Which, by the way, I'm like, y'all could just go to a store and get
I literally said that. I was like, guys, just like walk in Macy's. I mean, you're going to get the same effect. You're going to see better underwear, probably. So, figure that out.
Oh my god. But they were okay. The whole, like, every time you saw them, they had some sort of headgear got really old. I was like...
That's what I mean. I was like, you're trying so hard to, like, make them look like... I don't know. I didn't grow up in the 80s, but I just feel like not all nerds wore things on their heads. Like, there were two guys with underwear on their heads.
Yes.
Whose underwear is that? What's going on?
And then they had, like, laser guns, and they were, like, shooting at people. I'm like, that's definitely not what happened.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. If anything, I could see, like, them getting beat up and their underwear getting ripped from, like, a wedgie, but not on their head. Voluntarily.
No. All right, so let's talk about Andy Michael C. Hall's character, who, again, does not have a name. Oh, wait, he does have a name. What's his name? I forgot already.
They call him Farmer Ted. No one knows why.
Is that just like... I mean, that's like a thing. I've heard that.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. So, I did not like his character.
No.
He was very stocky.
Oh.
He assaulted her a bunch of times.
Oh.
He was a close talker. He was... inappropriate. He exploited her underwear, and then he basically, like...
He might have raped a girl. She, is going through trauma, so she's like, no, I guess it was cool. And I was like, it's not cool!
Well, and then we're supposed to empathize with him because he's a nerd? No! That's a big, fat, giant... No, I was like, this overconfident freshman is the problem with society.
This is the problem. This is the problem. Yes. Honestly, like, I felt like he was one of those characters that, he's the nerd. Okay, fine. Yes, he's trying to get the girl. Fine. Like, we've seen that a billion times. Yeah. But he was super rude to ladies all the time.
All the time.
And then he was, like, super chill to, like, guys. And I was like, this is bullshit, honestly. Because, like, you can't be like, I'm such a nice guy. Woe is me. And then be a hole to, like, women. That's not, you're not a nice guy. You're nice to men. You're not nice to ladies. So you can go f*** yourself.
Well, and even when he was trying to take her home, Caroline, at the end, and he's like, oh my god, this is really bad. Like, I don't have my license. Like, he actually was, like, being a normal 14-year-old. He's like, oh my god, oh god. And then she falls on his lap, and then he turns to the camera and says, maybe this isn't so bad. And then takes her to his nerd friends to get a picture that proves that they were together, eluding that they had sex. He's a horrible person.
He's so horrible. I wish someone called the cops. I'd love to see the alternate version of this movie where he gets arrested, and then she's like, yeah, I'm gonna file rape charges. And then he loses in court, and then I'm the lawyer, and I'm like, yeah, let's take down the patriarchy, because I'm over this bullshit. Jake, you're next. We're doing indictments.
You end your court case with Abigail Breslin taking down all of the child beauty pageants, and then you go to the 80s movies. But what was so infuriating is the whole movie wanted you to feel sorry for him, and that type of manipulation is what has taken women so long to, like, fight against, because it's really, really tricky. Like, I bet you a lot of people wouldn't look at this movie and be like, nah. I bet you everybody wouldn't say he's terrible. Maybe a younger generation now would, like, Gen Z would vote on that, but I think a lot of people would be like, oh, he's just a nerd trying to get laid, and you're like, oh my god.
And you're like, it's such a weak excuse.
It is
like,
weak.
It's like, you're not being respectful, you're not a good person, you're selfish, you're nasty, you literally threw yourself on top of Molly Ringwald like 800 times.
So
and she was
many.
Like, please stop. Like, if I was her, I would have gave him, like, a lot of punches in the face. And I'm annoyed that she didn't. Yes. And then even the whole, like, when she, like, talks with him and she's like, yeah, I like this guy and then blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, well, I'm going to tell you something personal, too. And you're like, okay, that's nice. Like, I guess you're trying to, like, make her feel not as, like, embarrassed. But then he brings it back to sex! And you're like, this is so lame.
So lame.
You're so lame. She literally was, like, talking, like, I like a guy, and, like, he'll never notice me, and, like, whatever. And then he's like, yeah, I'm embarrassed, too, because I said I was gonna have sex. And that's it. And you're like, those are not comparable. They're not the same thing, okay?
His literal quote was, I've never bagged a babe. I was like...
Yeah, and then she started laughing, and I was like, good reaction. Keep it up. Keep up the laughter, because I'm laughing too. Because I'm a nerd. I can't.
Yes.
I cannot.
Yes. And then we see what happens if Anthony literally Michael Hall continues on his living his life with the grandpas because they are so disgusting. All they are, they're naked. They're Harvey Weinsteining their granddaughter, where the one guy is like naked
foul.
and he asks for a hug. The other starts talking about her boobs. I just like was so uncomfortable with all the hugging and touching and like nakedness. I was like, why are you all the worst? I hate this so much.
I know. That's why I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel right now because I hate everyone.
Her dad was the only like somewhat normal. Like he was kind of like, oh, I don't know if you should marry this guy. Like this is uncomfortable. Or he was like, these in-laws are bad. Or like, oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry. I forgot your birthday. And like, what's going on? Yeah. And like, he was like the only freaking like somewhat normal, which like isn't that normal. Like,
yes.
Oh, right. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just everyone was so crazy that he seemed like he was normal. And you're like, well, you're totally not. But the one grandpa, like the grandparents who were the ones that stayed in her room, I guess they were like, oh yeah, Long Duk Dong is staying with us. He's an exchange student. And you're like, why? Okay. Yeah. And then, did you hear the part where they were like, yeah, he mows the lawn for us. He does all the dishes. So they basically were saying, like, we were using this exchange student, which I don't know if you know much about exchange students, but when you host an exchange student, you get paid. You get money. And so they're basically being like, yeah, we're getting paid all this money and we're making this boy do all of our household chores for us. And then, like, we kind of are nice to him, but, like, whatever. Take him off to the dance so we don't have to see him. I was like, this is so horrible.
Oh my God.
This is so horrible. I hate all of this.
Oh my God. It was so uncomfortable. And then even when he's, like, eating dinner, did you notice how he flipped? He had a fork and a spoon, and he flipped it around to look like chopsticks.
Oh my God! What the
I was like,
so
dude.
stupid.
And then when he like kind of goes out and has like what I think is the best time of the whole movie, where he basically like meets a girl, has a great time. They're both consent into it, clearly, which is like, thank God. And he gets drunk, like I think, you know, high schoolers do, whatever. And he ends up on the lawn, which I think is hilarious. And he crashes their car, which I think is well played since they treat him like a slave. And then the grandma kicks him. She literally kicks him. And I was like, what?
I was like, Long Duk Dong, you gotta get out of here, because you're not safe, my friend.
He is
I'm worried about
safe.
You. He wasn't even invited to the wedding. They were like, you stay home. I was like, this is bullshit.
Oh my God.
There was also a point, so do you remember when Jake goes to the house, and they're all at the wedding, and Long Duk Dong answers the door, and he has like a black eye. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh my God! And he slams the door, and he's like, you beat me up last night. And then Jake goes, you, like...
grabbed my nuts.
Oh, you grabbed my nuts. And then he said something that I thought he was saying, like, oh, actually, my girlfriend lady gave me a black eye or beat me up. And I was like, I don't... Like, I was so confused. I was like, who's beating who up? Nobody should beat anyone up. Literally, Long Duk Dong is, like, so abused. This poor kid. He just wants to have a great time. Oh, my God. I don't know what was happening.
Every single scene, people are laughing at him. They're laughing at him.
And they're correcting, like, his speech. Like, the little brother's like, oh, you said that wrong. I'm like, can you shut the up? Because you know what he meant. Dude. You know what he meant because you corrected him. And guess what? He doesn't give a shit about saying it the way you say it. So why don't you back the up and be normal, okay?
I literally wrote, I was like, America is the worst. Like, this is... This is so... We can't even speak our own language, let alone a second, and we're just such... We're so awful. And even that little brother, like, the one scene I thought really defined him, where he's eating pretzel sticks in the kitchen, talking some to his sister, and he pretends to smoke a pretzel stick. And I'm like, this 10-year-old is gonna grow up to, like, burn down buildings. Someone needs to put him in juvenile. Jail! Oh my God.
That's when he was like, Sofa City, baby. And I was like, listen, Sofa's not that bad, because at least you're by yourself.
Oh my God, away from people.
You're not in the same room as, like, 80 other people. You get to, like, get some semblance of peace and quiet. Like, you know, take what you can get. Oh, geez. Oh, God. good.
And then let's talk about how, and I know we're jumping, but I thought there was a lot of scenes that you were like, kind of the whole plot being like, why don't you just tell people it's your birthday? I also felt that way when Jake, who is terrible, slams Caroline's hair in the door.
Oh my God.
And doesn't just open the door. And then everyone's like, I know how to fix this. Let's chop your hair off. And I'm like thinking to myself, couldn't you just open the door? I'm so confused. Yes. Why couldn't anyone open the door? What's happening?
Because this movie was made to laugh at women. Laugh at, not with. That's what the movie was. Laugh at them. That's the whole movie. Also, pretty sure later in the movie, when she's then in the car with Anthony Michael C. Hall, she's like holding the hair. And I was like, wait a second.
Like lots of love style.
Like, you gotta just let it go. I mean, like, we can't reattach it. What are you doing with that?
and she is, like, such a disaster that she's like, I don't remember if we had sex, but I think we did, and I think I liked it, and I liked you. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You really don't.
No, because she didn't remember it, so don't give him the benefit of the doubt.
This is not how things happen. Yeah, and I'm trying to think if there's other, like, big moments, but it's very much, like, Molly Ringwald's kind of feeling sorry for herself, Anthony Michael Hall being totally like salty, and then Jake being this like quiet rape ringleader stalker.
Yes.
To then give her big birthday wish. It's like, oh my God, this is terrible.
That part where when they're at the church, whatever, and then like everyone's like leaving and she sees Jake and then she's like, oh my God. And he's like, are you going to the reception? At first she's like, yeah. And then she like a minute later is like, I mean, no, I'm not going to the reception. I was like, why the aren't you going to your sister's reception?
I was thinking that
Where
too.
are you going? What do you mean you're not going? And then she like goes to get in the car with him and she looks at the dad and she's like, that's him. Like she mouths that to him. And like in my head, I was like, okay, again, this could be a horror movie. We put some scary music, some like very ominous music and you like slow down the footage as she's like walking to the car and then you're like, and that's how she was murdered.
Pretty much.
We never saw her again.
We're looking for a Rolls Royce convertible.
Rolls Royce. Anthony Michael C. Hall might be an accessory to the murder. He's got her panties. God. It's the worst. Ew, and then she goes to him, she goes, thanks for getting my panties back. I was like, this is the worst. Do not thank him. He was holding those.
Oh, I hate it. Also, I'm just going to say that the sister who ended up taking all those muscle relaxants because her only characteristic was she had her period.
Yep.
To me was so funny. Like, how do you not go to that reception? She's going to be a blast to watch. How are you going to miss that show?
The one part she's sitting on like the stairs and she takes a shoe and she flings it off and it's like, woo! And then it like, there's like a crash through a window and I was like, wow, what a day. And then did you see who the one church lady was?
Oh, from Poltergeist, right?
Yes!
Oh my God.
I think the actress's name is Zelda.
Whoa. I was like, whoa, mama.
I love her. And then when the wedding is over and they are like leaving, she sees Molly Ringwald and she was like, all right, bye, see ya. And then she turns to herself and she goes, I needed a drink. I was like, same girl.
Oh wait.
So do I.
There was another scene from The Bride that I was like really loving. So they were throwing rice, and did you notice that she was trying to eat it like Pac-Man? Yeah. And I was like, yes, I want to go to this wedding. I want to be at this wedding.
The lady's name is Zelda Rubinstein.
Wow.
That's the actress. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And she also, so she was like playing the organ when she walks down the aisle, and she's like in a separate room playing the organ, and then she's like quietly to herself being like, here comes the bride. I was like, is this our mother? Because mom would be the one like sitting in the pews being like singing, and you're like, no, don't do that right now.
Oh my God. It's
too funny.
Too funny. And I think just it's a timepiece movie to watch and see where high schoolers in the early to mid 80s were at. But it doesn't hold up.
No.
Totally is offensive. And
yes.
Is it so offensive that, like, you should never watch it? No, I mean, it is a product of the time, which is the dumbest excuse ever, but it's just fascinating to see, like, how bad stuff used to be. And it's like, this is like, close to like 40 years ago, so...
Oh, that's so weird!
It is a long time,
That's so weird!
But at the same time, it's just like, every movie about a girl just wanting, at the end, the iconic scene of her sitting on the table with the birthday cake and him saying, "Happy birthday, Make-A-Wish," and her saying, "I already got it."
My wish My wish was to sit on a table with a guy that I don't know well and have a lot of fire in between us as we lean over to kiss. That's a fire hazard, all right? Wake up. I'm over it. Jeez. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I agree with you. I don't think, if you've seen this once, I think you're good. If you've never seen it and you want to understand what the give it a watch, but like, low expectations, maybe have a drink in your hand. I don't know. Like, make sure you've got something enjoyable that you have also happening, because you're gonna probably be annoyed.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're not, then you're probably the little brother from this movie, and you should maybe go talk to someone about your
You need help immediately,
so.
because you're gonna end up being terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Well, you know what? Listen, I will say this. The one thing I do like about this podcast is we do sometimes get to revisit movies that I probably would never otherwise watch, and that's always interesting. So this was a fan pick from Prime, from the Prime Nostalgia podcast. So thank you for letting us revisit it. I... still feel the same about this movie, I think.
Well, a part of me is like, Prime, I hope we didn't, like, crush your world by all over this movie. I hope you equally thought it was hilarious, but I personally liked Can't Buy Me Love more than 16 Candles, and it wasn't as popular, and I think people should go see that one, because they're a little more aware of how silly this will be in the long run.
Yeah, Can't Buy Me Love is definitely better than this movie. Yeah. So, if you're gonna do an 80s movie, do that one.
And that one's very 80s, like, to their point.
Yes.
So, huge thanks for the recommendation, and everyone should check out their podcast. Prime Nostalgic Podcast.
Woo! Yes, check them out.
Kate, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for me to tell you the next movie.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. And I totally prepared for this, which is why
did you...
Okay. I'm really prepared, and
there's that sarcasm that I thought was there.
And I'm I got it. So
okay.
And the reason I'm thinking of this is I was actually away with some friends this past weekend, and somebody said they watched this movie, and I laughed so hard because I thought, well, Katie and I should really be reviewing that. So this is an inspiration from a friend, although they didn't recommend it, but we could consider it recommended. This is from, I'm sorry, I'm going back to the 90s, 93.
Oh my god,
I'm so
many 90s.
I'm so sorry. I just never know when these, like, movies are, and then, you just gotta go with it. This is a movie we used to watch in the car a lot, but it's not what you're thinking.
Movie.
It's not what you're thinking.
I just had, like, 4 movies pop in my head.
Yeah, this is something that I wonder if we could take the movie Signs and add, like, comedy to it and see what happens, and that's probably a really weird description. But once I tell you one of the characters, you might know. So
I think I have an inkling.
One of the leads is Dan Aykroyd.
Oh.
Yeah. This is, I would say, a comedy, and I think it is super funny, and it was based off of an SNL skit, the one, the only, Coneheads.
Oh! Oh my god, I was like, are we gonna do Ghostbusters? I was like, wait, that was the 80s. What's happening? Oh my god, I love Coneheads! Okay, but this is definitely one of those movies that, like, I think our family really, really, really appreciates, and nobody else in the world, I think, likes.
It's like Jingle All the Way.
This is Jingle All the Way.
This will be like the lowest count. Like, we'll be like, wow, our stats dropped by 80%. Nobody wants to watch this.
This movie is so funny. There's so many good lines. One of the lines that I feel like I want to reference in my life, but I don't get as many opportunities, is there's a part where the mom goes to talk to the daughter. The daughter's name is Connie. And she goes, Connie, I read in a magazine that you can talk to me about anything. There's just so many many good little gems in this movie. Oh, Chris Farley's in this.
Yep.
Respect.
Yep.
Right hand respect, because he's dead. We love him.
Yes.
Oh. So let me think. Dan Aykroyd, Chris Farley. Oh, I always forget the actress's name, but she's so funny.
Hold on.
I feel like we haven't done a movie with a lot of these people.
Jane Curtin.
Okay, Jane Curtin.
Adam Sandler's in this too.
Oh, you know who's in this? Michael McKean from Clue.
Michael McKean!
Mr. Green! Love him.
And Sinbad! And Phil
Sinbad?
Hartman! Oh my
David
god.
Spade, right? Is it David Spade?
Oh my god.
I think he's in this too.
He might be.
I think so.
This is just like a ton of SNL characters.
Yes.
Kevin Nealon, Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander? Who was he in
Ellen
this?
DeGeneres? Am I on the right page? But yeah. Wow.
I don't remember Ellen in this movie. What's
William
happening?
Shatner? This is Chris Rock? This is jam-packed.
Chris Rock? Is this the... Wait, what? In Coneheads? Is this the right movie?
Am I looking up the right movie?
What are you looking at? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, they're obviously all, like, not main characters, but...
Wow. I'm so excited.
Kate,
Ugh.
I just want to let you know that if everybody forgot your birthday, okay, and you took a sex quiz and you're afraid that your crush found it, I would tell you to just let everyone know it was your birthday and stop filling out sex quizzes. I love you.
Okay, I love that. Well, and Bridge, if you were being stalked by a nerd who was sexually harassing you left and right at a school dance, I would stand up, I would go walk in front of him, I would ask him to stand up, and then I would very, very aggressively knee him in the crotch and then throw his face to the ground and say, "Get out of here," or else.
Aw, thanks, Kate.
If that doesn't do the trick, then we just call the cops, and, then we gotta do that.
Yeah.
And listeners, if you also hate sexual harassment and male characters that are written as if they should be charming, but really they're really creepy, and we need to, move on from writing characters like that.
Something about Mary. Something about Mary.
You should write us a review.
Hey.
We love reviews. We love written reviews. You can review us on Apple Podcasts. And we also have a website you can go check out, sisterswhoseenit.com. If you scroll down on our main page, you can fill out a form and request a movie. So this movie was a fan pick. So even if we don't really like the movie a lot, we're still going to do it.
We're being honest. We're going to give you the real talk.
This is the real talk, okay? So if you are like, listen, you got Anthony Michael C. Hall all wrong, and you want us to watch another movie he's in, that for some reason the only other movie I'm thinking of that he was in was
The Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah, he's in Breakfast Club. No, Edward Scissorhands.
Oh
He's
my
in
god,
that.
random.
He's a weird character in that. Anyway, so if you want to request a movie, please do that. We are kind of going through some fan requests, and we're kind of, going back and forth a little bit so we can extend it a little, but check us out on there. And Bridge, what else can they do on our website?
They can go buy us coffee. There's a Ko-Fi link. This requires a lot of time. Time requires energy. Energy is there due to caffeine. Give us caffeine!
Yes.
We're tired.
If we have to watch more, badly written sexist characters, I'm gonna need some coffee. So I'm just saying that right now because it's tiring.
I think for all of our cursing, you should put scary music to it, because it's we need to
the psycho music.
Yeah, you're this is way scarier.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like we kind of touched on it, but I want to make it very clear, Kate. Watch or don't watch. I say don't watch.
Agreed. Don't watch unless you want to if you're really in the mood to riff and point and laugh, then I guess you could, but there's better ones to do that for, I think. So
better ones to do. And we thanked Prime, but we're going to thank you again. We love you. We hope you enjoyed our sassy take on this today, and we can't wait to laugh it up with you with some big giant cone heads next week.
Cone heads! Yes! I can't wait.
Narthel the Garthog!
Narthel the Garthog! Oh my god, it's gonna be so. I cannot wait. I'm gonna make a cone head for myself to wear. I'm so excited.
We need to have like a cone head, like virtual background, because I'm
like
here for it. I'm here for it.
Oh, I wonder if they have that. That's so fun.
They probably do.
Oh boy. All right, listeners. Well, we'll see y'all next week for Coneheads.
See you then. Bye-bye.
See you then. Bye-bye. I love you.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who've Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at sisterswho'veseenit.com, where you can email us, request movies to be reviewed, and keep up to date with all things sisters. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next week.